Hello students, welcome to our online platform. Myself Engineer PP sir, your physics mentor. Students, in today's lecture we are going to talk about magnetic materials, different type of magnetic materials and how they show different magnetic behaviors in magnetic field. So our topic is magnetic materials. So if we talk about magnetic materials, so magnetic materials are those materials which show magnetic behavior. These magnetic materials can be classified into three different parts. Based on their mutual interactions. In external magnetic field. So these three types of magnetic materials are diamagnetic, paramagnetic, and ferromagnetic. They can be classified into three parts: diamagnetic, paramagnetic, and ferromagnetic. So if we talk about diamagnetic materials, then we can say that diamagnetism is the intrinsic property. It is the intrinsic property of every material. And it is generated due to mutual interactions between applied magnetic field and orbital motion of electrons. So property of diamagnetism is generated due to mutual interactions among applied magnetic field and orbital motion of electrons. Similarly, if we talk about paramagnetic materials, then we can say that in case of paramagnetic materials, their inner orbits of atoms are incomplete. So if we say that in any substance or any material, inner orbits of any atom is incomplete, then we can say that it will show paramagnetic behavior. So the electron spins are uncoupled. Consequently, on applying a magnetic field, magnetic moment generated due to spin motion. So in paramagnetic substances, due to spin motion of electrons, magnetic moment is generated and it aligned in the direction of magnetic field. Hence, when these due to spin motion of electrons, the atoms aligned in a direction of magnetic field, then they will have some magnetic moment in its direction, due to which gets feebly magnetized. So we can say that these paramagnetic substances gets feeble magnetized when they are placed in external magnetic field. So when there is no application of external magnetic field, then they move randomly. But when magnetic field is applied, then they align in the direction of applied magnetic field. Hence, magnetic moment is induced in them. So they show feeble magnetism, poor magnetism. Now, let us talk about ferromagnetic substances. So, ferromagnetic substances, in ferromagnetic substances, magnetic moments are permanent. It means permanent atomic magnetic moments are there in such materials, and they align themselves without any external magnetic field. So if there is absence of external magnetic field, then also these materials have some magnetic moment. In every unmagnetized ferromagnetic material, the atoms form domains inside the materials. So in case of ferromagnetic materials, domains are formed. The atoms in any domain have magnetic moments in the same direction. So it is considered that these ferromagnetic substances have a tendency to align themselves in the absence of magnetic field also. It means they have some magnetic moment without application of magnetic field, and based on direction of magnetic moment, domains are formed. In each domain, direction of magnetic moment is unique. It means in any domain, magnetic moment in same direction, which gives a net large amount of magnetic moment to that domain. Different domains, however, have different directions. So as I told you earlier, that each domain in ferromagnetic substance have a unique direction of magnetic moment. Hence we can say that there are different domains formed in ferromagnetic substances which have different unique directions of magnetic moments. So we can see from here that these are having different directions. They are unmagnetized, means not placed in magnetic field. When magnetic field is applied, when external magnetic field is applied, then these domains have direction which is unique. All the domains have similar direction. So this is the simple categorization of magnetic materials. Now see, Curie's law. So Curie was a scientist who give a relation in magnetic susceptibility of paramagnetic substances. For paramagnetic substances, Curie explained that magnetic susceptibility is inversely proportional to temperature. Is inversely proportional to temperature. It means if temperature of paramagnetic substances is increased, then its magnetic susceptibility will decrease. So here, if we remove this proportional sign, then a constant is there, which is Curie's constant. So this C is known as Curie's constant. T is absolute temperature. So we can say that on increasing temperature, magnetic susceptibility of paramagnetic materials decreases and vice versa. The magnetic susceptibility of ferromagnetic substances does not change according to Curie's law. So if you talk about ferromagnetic substances, then dependence of susceptibility on temperature is quite different. So here we consider a new temperature which is known as Curie temperature. So Curie temperature is a standard temperature above which a ferromagnetic substance behaves as a paramagnetic. So it is a threshold temperature. Above this temperature, any ferromagnetic substance will behave as paramagnetic substance. So this temperature is known as Curie temperature, or in other words, we can say that the minimum temperature at which ferromagnetic substance is being converted into paramagnetic substances. So it is the minimum temperature at which ferromagnetic substances starts converting into paramagnetic. So in case of ferromagnetic substances, this relation is given as this. Magnetic susceptibility is inversely proportional to T minus Tc. So here T is absolute temperature and Tc is Curie temperature. So if we remove this proportional sign again, then a constant is there. So if we talk about Curie's law for ferromagnetic substances, then a scientist was there, Weiss. So this law is known as Curie-Weiss law. Curie-Weiss law. So scientists Curie and Weiss both predicted this relation between magnetic susceptibility and temperature for ferromagnetic substances. So this is Curie-Weiss law. So at temperature above Curie temperature, the magnetic susceptibility of ferromagnetic material is inversely proportional to T minus Tc. So T is absolute temperature and Tc is Curie temperature. Now see, now we are going to talk about comparative study of these magnetic materials, diamagnetic, paramagnetic and ferromagnetic substances. So as we discussed earlier, that what is the main cause of magnetism? So what is the main cause of magnetism in each magnetic substance? So if we talk about diamagnetic substance, then in diamagnetic substance, magnetism is produced due to orbital motion of electrons. While in case of paramagnetic substances, it is due to spin motion. And in case of ferromagnetic substances, domains are formed. So due to domains, magnetic moment is induced. Then explanation of magnetism. So in case of diamagnetic substances, magnetism can be explained on the basis of orbital motion of electrons. Similarly, here we can say in paramagnetic substances, spin and orbital motion. Magnetism is caused due to spin and orbital motion, while in case of ferromagnetic substances, we can say that magnetism can be explained based on domains formed. If we talk about behavior in a non-uniform magnetic field, so if any sample of magnetic material is placed in non-uniform magnetic field, then we can say each magnetic material, either it is diamagnetic, paramagnetic or ferromagnetic, will show different behaviors. So if we talk about diamagnetic substances, then they are repelled in an external magnetic field. So whenever diamagnetic substances are placed in external magnetic field which is non-uniform, then they are repelled, that is have a tendency to move away from high to low region. means they will move from high magnetic field to low magnetic field, or we can say from strong magnetic field to poor magnetic field. So there is repulsion in case of diamagnetism. In case of paramagnetism, poor attraction, feeble attraction in there in external magnetic field. That is, they have a tendency to move from low magnetic field to high magnetic field, low to high magnetic field. While in case of ferromagnetic substances, they are strongly attracted. They are strongly attracted in external magnetic field. It means they have a tendency to strongly move from low to high magnetic field. From low to high magnetic field. Similarly, if you talk about state of magnetism, then these are weakly magnetized in a direction opposite to that of applied magnetic field. So as we discussed earlier, the previous property in which we came to know that they are repelled in external magnetic field. It means when they are placed in external magnetic field, then they align themselves in opposite direction of external field, and they are weakly magnetized. It means there is poor repulsion. Then if we talk about paramagnetic substances, then these get weakly magnetized in direction of applied magnetic field. So in case of paramagnetic substances, there is attraction, but it is very poor. It means they are aligned in the direction of magnetic field, but poor or feeble magnetization is there. But if we talk about ferromagnetic substances, then they are strongly magnetized in external magnetic field, and they align themselves in the direction of magnetic field, So this is the state of magnetization. Then when the material in the form of liquid is filled in the U tube and placed between the pole pieces. Let us say now this is a U-shaped tube in which a liquid is filled, and these poles are placed near these U-shaped tube. So if it is placed in case of diamagnetic substance, then liquid level in that limb gets depressed. So here level of liquid will be depressed because of repulsion. Here liquid level rises, and in case of ferromagnetic also it rises up to a large height. It means strong attraction, poor attraction, and poor repulsion. You can clearly see from here. Now see, so if you talk about next property, then on placing the gaseous material. So if we place a gaseous material, then what will happen? In case of diamagnetic substances, the gas expands at right angles to the magnetic field. The gas expands at right angles to the magnetic field. In case of paramagnetic, the gas expands in the direction of magnetic field, and the gas rapidly expands. So again, same concept of attraction or repulsion. So in case of diamagnetic, we can say the gas expands at right angles to magnetic field. Here in case of paramagnetic, gas expands in direction to magnetic field, and in case of ferromagnetic, gas expands in the direction of magnetic field rapidly. Similarly, if we talk about magnetic induction, so in case of diamagnetic, magnetic induction is less than B naught. Here it is greater than B naught. While in case of ferromagnetic substances, magnetic field is larger. It means it is much greater than B naught. B naught is magnetic induction in vacuum. Now magnetic susceptibility. So if we talk about magnetic susceptibility for each magnetic material, then in case of diamagnetic substance, magnetic susceptibility is low and negative. Means mod of xi is almost equal to 1. In case of paramagnetic substance also, we can say that magnetic susceptibility is low but positive, because magnetic moment is in direction of magnetic field. And in case of ferromagnetic, positive and much higher. So magnetic susceptibility of ferromagnetic substance is maximum. Then for paramagnetic and smallest for diamagnetic substance. Dependence of magnetic susceptibility on temperature. So in case of diamagnetic substance, there is no dependence. Dependence is zero. It means we can say that diamagnetic substances do not, such a susceptibility of diamagnetic substances do not depend on temperature. So does not depend on temperature. While in case of paramagnetic substance, Curie's law is applicable, and in case of paramagnetic substances, Curie-Weiss law is applicable. So we can say that Xi proportional to 1 upon T in case of paramagnetic, and it is proportional to 1 upon T minus Tc for ferromagnetic substances. Now, if we talk about relative permittivity, then let us talk about relative permittivity. So relative permittivity in case of diamagnetic substances is smaller than 1. In case of the paramagnetic substance is greater than 1, and in case of ferromagnetic substances it is much greater than 1. It is much greater than 1. If we talk about intensity of magnetization, so intensity of magnetization, they are magnetized in external magnetic field in opposite direction. So we can say that I is in a direction opposite to that of H, and its value is very low. So as we discussed earlier, that diamagnetic substances are magnetized in opposite direction of applied field. So here poor magnetization, but in opposite direction of H. H is magnetizing field. Here also intensity of magnetization is in direction of magnetizing field H, but value is low. Again value is low because they are poor, there is poor attraction. But in case of ferromagnetic substances, I is in direction of H. It means intensity of magnetization is in direction of magnetizing field, and its value is very high. Its value is very high because they are strongly attracted. Now IH curve. So if we talk about IH curve, then as we discussed earlier, that here in case of diamagnetic substances, attraction is poor, repulsion is poor. It means intensity of magnetization is in opposite direction. So this is the variation. Intensity is increased but in opposite direction. Similarly, if we talk about for paramagnetic substances, then it increases but not too much value of I with respect to H. And here this is the variation. This is the variation between intensity of magnetization and magnetizing field. Now magnetic moment. So in case of diamagnetic substances, magnetic moment is very low. Magnetic moment is very low. If we talk about absence of magnetic field, then magnetic moment is zero. It means in absence of magnetic field, they do not show magnetic behavior. So zero, and is in direction opposite to H. The value of, in case of paramagnetic substances, again magnetic moment is low and is in direction of H. And if we talk about ferromagnetic substances, then we can say that magnetic moment is very high and is in the direction of magnetizing field H. Then transition of materials. So transition of materials, transition means how they are converted from one type of magnetic material to another type. So if we talk about diamagnetic substances, that then they do not change, because diamagnetic substances are independent of temperature. It means their susceptibility is independent of temperature, so there is no change. So if we draw a graph between magnetic susceptibility and temperature, then it is always a straight line parallel to temperature axis. Clear? So there is no change. Susceptibility is always fixed. In case of paramagnetic substances, we can say that on cooling, these get converted into ferromagnetic materials. So here susceptibility decreases with respect to temperature. Susceptibility decreases with respect to temperature. While in case of ferromagnetic substances, after a particular temperature, if temperature is increased, then these ferromagnetic substances are converted into paramagnetic. It means this is the variation. So keep in mind, if we cool down the paramagnetic substances, then paramagnetic substances are converted into ferromagnetic, and if we increase the temperature of paramagnetic substance of ferromagnetic substances, then they are converted in paramagnetic substances. So this is defined based on Curie temperature. Now see next property, the property of magnetism. Property of magnetism. So dimagnetism is found in those materials the atoms of which have even number of electrons. Even number of electrons. So if any atom of material have even number of electrons, then it will show dimagnetism property. But if we talk about paramagnetism, then paramagnetism is found in those materials the atoms of which have majority of electron spins in the same direction. So if majority of electrons spin in the direction of magnetic field, then such substances are known as paramagnetic, and this property is paramagnetism. Similarly, ferromagnetism. So ferromagnetism is found in those materials which when placed in an external magnetic field are strongly magnetized. So if any sample of magnetic material is placed in external magnetic field and it is strongly magnetized, then such a sample of magnetic material is ferromagnetic, and this property is ferromagnetism. So we can see examples here. If we talk about even number of electrons in any atom, then let us say copper, Ag, Au, zinc, bismuth, antimony, NaCl, H2O. These all are examples of dimagnetic substances. If we talk about paramagnetic substances, then aluminium, manganese, platinum, sodium, all these are paramagnetic substances. And ferromagnetic, ferrous, cobalt, nickel, all are known as ferromagnetic substances. Now, if we talk about nature of effect, then dimagnetic substances have a distortion effect. Paramagnetic substances have orientation effect, and ferromagnetic substances have hysteresis effect. So here in our syllabus we will talk about hysteresis effect. You can keep these effects in mind. In case of dimagnetism, distortion effect is there. In case of paramagnetism, orientation effect is there, while in case of ferromagnetism, hysteresis effect is there. So let us talk about hysteresis curve. So this is the hysteresis curve. Hysteresis means, if we talk about hysteresis curve, then it means lag behind. It means lag behind. So we plot this curve between B and H, magnetic field and magnetizing field. So let us say that we are having a sample of ferromagnetic substance which is placed in external magnetic field. Then magnetization produced in that ferromagnetic substance is plotted on this curve. So when magnetizing field is increased, let us say initially magnetizing field is 0, because we let us say that we haven't placed that magnetic substance which is in ferromagnetic nature in external magnetic field. Then if H is 0, then I is also 0 or B is also 0. As we increase H, then magnetic field is also starts increasing. It means intensity of magnetization also increases and becomes maximum, and at a certain value this magnetization, intensity of magnetization becomes maximum. So here we consider, or we call it as a saturation value of magnetic field. So this point indicates saturation of intensity of magnetization or magnetic field. So this maximum value is called the saturation value. Now when H is reduced, now if we reduced value of H, then at a particular value of magnetizing field, magnetizing field, let us say it is reduced to 0, magnetizing field is reduced to 0, then there is some value of intensity of magnetization or some magnetic field is remaining in that ferromagnetic substance. It means it is not 0 when H is equal to 0. We can say that when magnetizing field becomes 0 by reducing its value, then intensity of magnetizing field, intensity of magnetization is non-zero, means I is non-zero. the remainder value OC. So this value OC is known as residual magnetism or retentivity. Residual magnetism or retentivity. So what is retentivity or residual magnetism? If applied magnetism, or you can say magnetizing field, is reduced to zero, then intensity of magnetizing field becomes non-zero. It means some property of magnetization is remaining in that ferromagnetic sample. The property by virtue of which the magnetism remains in a material even on the removal of magnetizing field is called retentivity or residual magnetism. So as I explained you earlier, that if magnetizing field is removed, even after there is some amount of magnetism in that ferromagnetic substance. So this property is known as retentivity or residual magnetism. Similarly, if we talk about next variation in the graph, then when magnetic field H is reversed, now when magnetic field H is reversed, I am plotting this curve here. So now here magnetic field is non-zero. Now magnetizing field is reduced, magnetizing field is reversed, its direction is reversed, the magnetization decreases, and for a particular value of H it becomes zero. So here this value represents, here I becomes zero. So here at a particular value of magnetizing field, intensity of magnetization becomes zero. So this point is known as coercivity. So this is defined as coercivity. Coercivity assesses the softness or hardness of a magnetic material. So softness or hardness of any magnetic material is defined based on property of coercivity. Coercivity signifies magnetic hardness or softness. So magnetic hard substance, let us say about steel. So steel is of high coercivity. Steel is of high coercivity. It means large region of coercivity will be there. While in case of soft substances like soft iron, coercivity will be low. Coercivity will be low. So softness or hardness of any magnetic substance is defined based on coercivity property. Now see, when field H is further increased in reverse direction, the intensity of magnetization attains maximum value, means again saturation is achieved. So again this is the saturation region, and then the same ratio again here we will get a residual magnetism and then again saturation. So like this graph keep on moving. When magnetizing field is varied, when H is decreased to zero and changed direction in steps, we get the part EFG. This all is given by the same way. So you have to keep in mind, in case of hysteresis curve, only 3 points. Saturation. So saturation is the maximum value of magnetizing field. Then coercivity. Coercivity is the value of H at which intensity of magnetization becomes zero. Then residual magnetism or retentivity. So if we talk about retentivity or residual magnetism, then if we remove magnetizing field, it means if magnetizing fields become zero, then also there is some amount of magnetism. So that is known as property of retentivity or residual magnetism. Now see, the energy loss or hysteresis energy loss in a magnetizing and demagnetizing a specimen is proportional to the area of hysteresis loop. So always keep in mind, area of this hysteresis loop represents energy loss, which is also known as hysteresis energy loss. So larger the area, larger the energy loss. Smaller the area, smaller the energy loss. So if we compare hysteresis curve for soft iron and steel. So in case of soft iron, this hysteresis curve is small. It means low energy loss. low energy loss. And in case of steel, area is large because its corrosivity is large. So we can say that it has high energy loss. High energy losses are produced when a magnet is made of hard steel, and if a magnet is made of soft iron, then it has low hysteresis area. It means low energy loss. Now the area of hysteresis loop is less. So if we talk about for soft iron and hard steel or steel, then here a comparative table is given. In case of soft iron, it is clear from the graph that area of hysteresis loop is low. It means low energy loss. While area of hysteresis loop is large, it means high energy loss. In case of steel, high energy loss is there. Here, if area is low, then less retentivity and corrosive force. Here, more retentivity and more corrosivity. So if low area is there, small area is there, it means low retentivity, low corrosivity. And in case of steel, if area is large, it means large corrosivity and large retentivity. Here magnetic permeability is high. In case of soft iron, permeability is high, and in case of steel, permeability is less. So if permeability is high in case of soft iron, then magnetic susceptibility is also high. And in case of steel, magnetic susceptibility is low. Similarly, if we talk about intensity of magnetization, then in case of soft iron, intensity of magnetization is high. It means it can easily be magnetized in external magnetic field. And steel, for steel, intensity is low. If we talk about magnetization and demagnetization, then soft iron can easily be magnetized and demagnetized, while in case of steel, it is quite tough to magnetize and demagnetize. Clear? Next, uses of soft iron and steel. So soft iron is used in dynamo, transformer, electromagnet tape recorders and tapes. So generally where magnetic field is temporary or it based on change in current, then soft iron is used. And generally, so we can say that temporary magnets are made of soft iron and permanent magnets are made of steel. So they are used for making permanent magnets. So this is the general concept of soft iron and steel based on hysteresis curve. Now see, an iron cord coil and a bulb are connected in series with an AC generator. So if an iron cord coil and a bulb are connected in series with a generator, if an iron rod is introduced, so if any iron rod is introduced inside a coil, then intensity of bulb will decrease because some energy lost in magnetizing the rod. So always keep in mind that if a iron cord coil is connected in series with a bulb in an AC generator and an iron rod is inserted in the coil, then intensity of magnetization decreases because some amount of magnetic field is lost or some amount of energy is lost in magnetizing the rod. Hysteresis energy loss is equal to area bounded by hysteresis loop. So it is VA and T. This energy loss is VA and T. Here V is volume of ferromagnetic substance, A is area of hysteresis loop, N is frequency of alternating magnetic field, and T is time. So hysteresis energy loss is VA and T. So this is the general concept of hysteresis curve. Let us see a question. Let us see, we are having a question. A magnetic field of 1600 ampere per meter introduces a magnetizing field of 1600 ampere per meter produces a magnetic flux of 2.4 into 10 to the power minus 5 Weber in an iron bar of cross-sectional area 0.2 centimeter square. Then susceptibility of iron bar. So here we are given H. H is 1600 ampere per meter. We are given flux which is 2.4 into 10 to the power minus 5 Weber. and area of cross section as 0.2 centimeter square. And we have to calculate susceptibility. We have to calculate Xi of an iron bar. So see, here we are given H, phi and A. So first of all, calculate B is equal to mu H. We can calculate value of B here, and medium is given, so it is mu naught mu R into H, and value of mu R is equal to 1 plus xi m. Value of mu R is equal to 1 plus xi m. So we can place its value here. And magnetic field B. So B can be calculated, phi is equal to BA. So B is equal to phi upon A. Place all these values in this relation. So B is equal to phi upon A, and it is equal to mu naught mu R 1 plus xi m into H. So using this relation, we are given value of phi, we are given area, we know the value of mu naught, which is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7, and we are given value of H. So we can calculate value of xi m. Magnetic susceptibility can be calculated from this relation. So that's it from today's lecture. Today we have concluded magnetic materials and hysteresis laws, hysteresis curve for ferromagnetic substances. So students, our topic of magnetism have been completed. Questions will be uploaded on our app. If you have any type of query regarding any pattern of exam or any pattern of like question asked in your exams, ICR, JET or NEET, whatever exam you are appearing for, so you can contact us by on our app or our on YouTube channel. Your query definitely will be resolved. So thank you for watching the video. We will meet in next video with our new topic. Thank you.